won't be okay. So I have started recording it right now, and so I mean I will edit into this part when we kind of get. Yeah, well, no, we're going, and then I'll just kind of come in. So the part that I am kind of fascinated with your background is so you are an LMFT.
Yes.
Yeah. So at what point did you start to? I mean, well, let me ask you: is more of your business the LMFT kind of traditional therapy, or is it more in the luminous passages realm?
It is now starting to sway more over onto the luminous passages side.
Well, and did you feel when you graduated, as an LMFT, you're getting your hours, you're doing that sort of thing, right? Did you already have an idea that you were heading down this path toward luminous passages? No.
Oh, no.
Okay.
This wasn't even...
Wasn't it?
No, if anything, I was probably more of a skeptic than
Were you really?
anything.
Well, okay, let's kind of let's back up a little bit, right?
Okay,
all right,
sure.
so, I'm with Julie. Julie is a licensed marriage and family therapist, but also, and this is a part where I'm going to be super vulnerable, and I probably have already talked about this for 5 minutes in the intro that I will record after, but I am so just interested in hearing all about your work but I don't want to offend you with what I call you, right?
You can call me a spirit medium.
Okay, spirit medium.
We're also called psychic mediums.
Okay.
I'm also an intuitive counselor.
Okay.
A Reiki master.
Okay.
Hypnotherapist. Well, I'm all kinds of things.
Okay.
And a mentor.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Yeah.
So, for the sake of the rest of the interview, you said spirit medium?
Spirit medium is great.
Okay, I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll go with that. So, so before, so before we get to that, then give me a little background. So, where'd you grow up?
All over. No.
Did you? Okay.
All over California.
Okay.
No, I was born in San Francisco and lived there till I was about 6.
Okay.
And then the parents split up, and I ended up, or I moved to San Diego, and I was down there till I was about 16, and then we moved to Grass Valley.
Oh wow! Okay.
Went to Nevada Union.
You
so
did.
any Nevada Union
That's
people.
right.
Yeah.
So San Diego up till you were 16. Were you close to the beach?
No.
Okay. Is that one of those assumptions, right? Oh, you must have lived on the beach. You surf,
Yeah, 7 to 10, I was in a place called University City, which is pretty darn close, but you can't drive when you're 7 to 10.
Good point, yeah.
And then I was more in a place, it was called Escondido in Valley Center, so it's a little more inland.
Okay.
Yeah, and right about the time, when I would have started driving and being able to go to the beach.
Yeah.
We moved to the mountains.
Okay.
So.
And Grass Valley is a lot different than the beaches of San Diego, right?
Although I loved it.
Did you?
To me, it was like being on summer vacation all year round because of the trees.
Okay. So a lot of people ask that question. Are you more of somebody that would want to be by a lake and a forest or by a beach? You've done both. What do you prefer?
Probably the trees.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I do love the beach, but and I guess maybe because I'm starting to think of Grass Valley, and I lived on 3 acres, and there was the NID ditch running through there, and it was a great place to connect with nature and write poetry and be a teenager.
Okay. And did you already have inklings at that time of wanting to be a therapist, or what was your career path at that point?
This is a great question.
Okay.
I was just thinking about this today, because even back then they would give us this a test to see, this is what you'd be good at.
Yeah.
Did you have it? I remember them saying to me, my number one thing that I would be good at was a psychologist.
Really?
And I said, oh, well, I didn't know what a psychologist was.
Yeah.
And I said, well, how much school is that? And they go, oh, well, psychologist, you're going to want your PhD. And I said, forget it.
Right. Okay.
I'm getting out of high school. I'm like done. I'm like, I have to go to college because the family says go to college. And then the next one was, well, then you'd be good as a therapist. Oh, how much school does that take? Well, that's a master's. Forget it.
Yeah.
And then it was, I think, marketing. And that's kind of where
but now we look back, that was foreshadowing, right?
Yeah.
Mine, I think, said, try again. I mean, I don't know what I don't remember what it said. I mean, at that point, I don't think I had much career ambitions. But with you, too, it's...
I wanted to work for an airline.
Did you?
That's what I wanted to do then.
I think I still thought I was going to be a professional baseball player at that time. So those career assessments weren't for me, right? So then where do you go to school? Where do you go to college?
My bachelor's I got at Sac State.
Okay.
So I went there, and I ended up studying. I really liked traveling, and I wanted the airline. So for me, I had a dual major of international business and marketing.
Okay.
And my parents were more do the marketing.
Yeah.
You know, Dad was in sales and that kind of thing.
Okay.
So,
And then did you out of there go and get a job in the marketing industry or?
No, because I was shy.
Okay. Yeah.
So marketing wasn't really for me. I wound up in banking.
Oh wow.
So I ended up for maybe 5 years. I was a bank manager.
For 5 years.
Customer service manager.
Okay.
Yeah, for about 5 years, and it wasn't really me.
Yeah.
And then.
Wait, before we move, I am fascinated whenever I have clients. I don't know if you ever do this, but I always want it to be therapeutic. I don't want to waste their time, but I can under rapport building maybe with someone that has worked in the banking industry. I always ask, was there a time that you're sitting in front of somebody and you pull up their account and you are just blown away looking at the person in front of you of how much money they have in their account? Do you have those? Do you ever remember?
Oh no, because you get so used to the money.
Do you?
Yeah, you get it's $1 million deposit. Oh yeah, I'll sign that off. Go ahead.
Wow.
You get
desensitized numb to it.
Yeah, or
Okay.
somebody comes in. I'm missing $65,000. Where is it? And you're, we'll check into it. We'll get it for you here by the end of the day. Find it. And, back then, things have changed.
Yeah.
I put in the first ATM.
Did you really? Okay.
So that's how long ago that was.
Was that a wow? I can't believe this is, or it's a fad? Or do we look at that like we do now, computers and cell phones?
Yeah, it was.
But why we need that? We have bank people that we can go in and talk to, right?
Yeah, actually, this was a learning moment for me because I was this customer service manager and put in the ATM and it seemed like it was going to be neat, and then I was told now you need to fire all the tellers.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that was my first experience of really having to let go of people, and that didn't
like that.
I did not like that part of it.
Was that where we start tapping into Julie's empathy?
Yeah. Yeah, really.
Yeah.
And you have to, and they're crying, and they're, how am I going to feed my family? And so that was hard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So from banking, then where'd you go?
Oh, banking. After banking, then I went for what I wanted.
Okay.
I went to work for an airline.
Oh, you did?
I did. I worked for Alaska Airlines for about 11 years.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay. I didn't realize that either. 11 years.
Yeah.
And what were you doing for the Alaska?
I started as a ticket agent, and then I was kind of a temporary lead. I got into, I was a trainer for the station, and then I got into something called operations, which I really loved, which has to do with doing the weight and the balance on the planes, and a lot of work with the pilots and a lot of radio work. But what I loved was all the, I don't know what you'd say, all the travel benefits.
No, that's exactly it, right? So you could go anywhere, right?
Yeah, we could go anywhere, and wow, we could work for one another, and we'd have double shifts. And so what people will do is they'll work several shifts in a row, and then go on a trip for a month.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Okay.
And then during that, I decided to be a therapist. So.
Okay, what led you there?
My own therapy.
Okay.
Of course.
Okay, that's a pretty familiar story, right?
Yeah, working on my own healing, and so that's during the work with Alaska, I got into a master's program at JFK University in their transpersonal program, so it was very holistic.
Okay, and you had already identified, so you had your bachelor's, you spent 5 years in banking, you go 11 years in airlines. I love that. I didn't know we were going to be talking about changing careers
so
which
much.
I love that, right? Because I'm sure in your practice you see that too, where people are not satisfied in a career all of the kind of the things that go along with that, and but then feeling stuck or scared that they can't change. Do you have those thoughts?
No.
Okay.
Not for me. No. It's just one thing led to another, and you get to know yourself better, and you change as you mature. And maybe you're braver to go work for the airline that you really wanted to do when you were 21, but it didn't work out the way you wanted it to, or whatnot.
And then how was your master's experience? When you wanted to be there, right? So was that a completely different school experience?
Yeah, like in the bachelor's, I had a really good time.
Okay.
I was young, I had a good time. I still got my a 3.0 or something, but when I got to my master's and I was passionate about what I was doing, I got a 4.0.
Okay.
And it was very transformative. A lot of people, they would start the program. There were plenty of people that kind of dropped out along the way, and most people would have these sort of major life changes. I had a divorce at that time.
And I'm curious
a lot
how,
of
you know,
personal growth.
okay, and I've asked a couple other therapists on here, I know when I went back to school to get my master's in counseling, at the beginning they kind of said, hey, this will change your life. You're going to look at things a lot differently, and you will not come out of it the same. And I remember kind of thinking, yeah, but it won't be a big deal. But I mean, so did you kind of get that same speech at the beginning?
Yes, I
Okay.
think I probably did. I think I'd already had a lot of life changes just through doing my own psychotherapy
Okay.
outside of that.
Yeah.
But this program, it was actually a 3-year master's versus the clinical was a 2-year program.
Okay.
And I remember looking at the book and like, well, I should do the clinical program. Ooh, but this transpersonal program, which combines the East and the West.
Oh.
So Buddhism, all that kind of thing, consciousness studies. Ooh, that looks really yummy, and that looks fun. And oh, but I should do this one. And then I just went, no, I'm going to do this other one.
You did.
And
okay.
I did. And it was a great
And then
decision.
a 4.0, you love that.
Yeah.
And then, so where'd you go from there? What did you do a practicum? I mean, or,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
just like because I was going for my LMFT.
Sure.
So yeah, there was a practice. Yeah, there was. Well, let's see. First there was the work you do in school. Then I started to do the practicum outside. That's right when I was having a divorce.
Oh, it was. Okay.
It was kind of, like a private practice kind of practicum.
Oh, okay.
And so that was a bit of a struggle. And then after that a bit, I met my husband now.
Okay.
And I moved to Atlanta.
Oh, wow.
And so I had a practicum there with a wonderful place. What was the name of it? Link Counseling Center in Atlanta. And I used to say, oh, this is the place where therapists go when they die and go to heaven.
Oh, okay.
It was really nice.
Nice, yeah.
And then in addition to that, I did assessments at a psych hospital.
Oh.
So lots of hours there.
Sure. And then do you remember your first client in your practicum?
Oh, well, I
love
remember
the first
one
client
in
stories.
particular.
Okay.
Yeah,
what was it? And of course, protecting all the changing names and all these things.
Yeah, no, he was wonderful. It was this male client that was just wonderful, and all these transferences happened.
Okay, sure, yeah.
I'll never forget that. Running to supervision.
Yeah.
And just how much I think we both grew in working together.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, and there's a part of me that we could sit and kind of explore. I want to explore your LMFT side, but I want to get to the luminous passages bad that then. So, you're in Atlanta.
Well,
is
we're
that?
already talking about
Are we?
it a little
Okay.
bit.
Okay.
In
So,
a way.
okay.
In a way. So,
Okay.
like when I was doing the transpersonal program, and around this age, I was having some what I'd call mediumship experiences, and this is probably a good point to explain what a medium is.
Let's do, and even before that, do you feel, because I know a lot of listeners are just really curious to hear, was this something you have felt, from birth? Was this in your DNA? Is this something that you were cynical about at first? What was that like?
So great question. Looking back now, I think my first experiences, I was about 4 years old. And I would see spirits walking around my bed, and it scared me half to death.
Okay.
And you tell your mom, and she just says, "Oh, that's your imagination."
Okay.
And so I spent a lot of time just going under the covers, hoping it would go away, and then it did. It just went away. And this happens with a lot of kids, I think, especially this age, little. And then nothing really until I got into my late 20s, and more when people I knew were crossing over, family members, and just
And by crossing over, maybe we do some terms,
I'm sorry,
right? No,
dying,
this is great.
dying,
Okay.
dying.
Okay, so as you started to experience the reality
family
of
members,
death and,
or and this is a good thing to explain too. Like, first real family member that died for me was my grandmother.
Okay.
And in my family, I was raised, when you die, you're dead. That's it.
Okay.
You'll never see them again. It's just over. That's, we're just here and then we're gone.
Okay.
And so when somebody dies, it's devastating because you're never going to see them again.
Wow.
So, and then, although I don't think I had an experience about her right then, but when my father passed, I knew when he was passing. I had my mother with me. I looked at the clouds and I said, he's gone.
And how old were you when that happened?
I was probably 34.
Okay.
Something like that. But I'd had another. I did know when my grandmother was passing because I was at my father's house, and all of a sudden I had to lay on the floor and I couldn't move.
Mm.
And I just started therapy. I was down there, and I thought, oh, this is what could this be? You know,
Yeah.
and I ran to look at the bookstore for what it could be, and the only book that appealed was The Courage to Grieve.
Okay.
And I said, well, I don't know anybody who's dead, so why? I don't need that book. And then I went home, and my mom called me, and at the time I'd been laying on the floor. My grandmother had some problem in an operation and passed.
Wow.
And I think I was feeling that. And so then I went back to buy the book, The Courage to Grieve.
Okay.
So,
okay, so there were some seeds being planted.
Yeah, but I didn't know what they were, and I kind of thought, well, gosh, maybe this happens to everybody when somebody passes. And I do get a lot of people that come in to see me now, and it's like, well, I feel them a little bit, or this or that. I've had this experience. So,
okay, and so kind of with the concept of if people are cynical, I mean, did you have experiences in your teens or 20s where you started, hearing about whether it's psychics or experiences like this, and were you, oh, that's interesting, or did you think there's no way, or do you remember having those thoughts?
Yeah, I didn't hear about psychics or any of that.
Okay.
I think I was curious about things. Well, I was also curious about religion. I was drawn to, Christianity, and wanted to be with Jesus, and that felt really yummy. But it was hard to try to get to a church when you don't drive.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah.
And I did find like a book on astrology, so that was kind of interesting.
Okay.
And then I think I got some tarot cards, but I never really mastered any of that back as a teenager. So that was kind of just my little...
So then they were kind of put away.
Yeah,
they
put away, and then got to go to college and do these other things. And, And but I did get an interest. When was that? Probably early 30s in nature spirituality, kind of a more Native American type thing. And now I know I'd done a visualization. They call it journeying, listening to something, and I had wound up in this visualization in this teepee with these older Native American men. I think we smoked a pipe too, and they were just telling me, oh, you're going to be doing this, and do you agree to help people, and you're going to, and I came out of it, and I thought, well, that was a really cool visualization. And now I see it's like, oh, why didn't I write that down? Because I was with these Native American men, and it's like, I didn't know what I had. It's like, I want to go back.
Okay, yeah. So all right, so then you're having these experiences with crossing over, and you're having kind of more awareness around that.
Yeah.
And then I know when we were trading some messages, I believe you used a phrase, spiritual awakening. Is that a significant point? I mean,
that's a very significant
point.
point.
So is that a point where you knew that you were going to start heading more in this luminous passages direction, or maybe let you drive? Okay.
No, you let me drive.
Okay.
And I think I want to back up just for a second,
Please.
if I could. Because I also remember when I was about 43, there used to be this show on TV, a famous medium by the name of James Von Prague.
I remember some of those.
Do you remember that? Yeah. Well, I would be up late, and I had a little daughter. I'd be up late at night, and I was watching this show, and I didn't know what a medium was. And so he'd come on, and he would give messages of these people that had crossed over. And I would look at that TV, and I would like, where is he getting these actresses from?
Okay.
Man, those tears look real. And finally, I was like, could he really be doing this?
Yeah.
And so that was kind of interesting.
No, I appreciate that. And I know you and I talked before, and you were so good about saying, hey, I get it that there are people that are cynical, and I want to ask the questions, and I think I told you, I don't want to offend you, Julie. I'm saying, come on, right? Yeah. I mean, so I think when I was even talking about, did you have, what were the experiences like when you were younger? I mean, I think of the, Dionne Warwick and the Psychic Friends Network and people calling on the phone and those sort of things, and the 900 numbers, and, and so I think, I don't know if I was hearing from my own family or, it's just a money thing or whatever, right?
I did used to think that.
Did you?
Even not that long ago.
Okay.
I'd drive down the street and you see psychic, and I'd be like, what a waste of money, or whatever.
Okay, you did, right. Yeah.
So I did kind of come from that perspective there, but then in 2012, which is actually a fairly popular year for other people to have what they call a spiritual awakening, it was like a perfect storm. I was doing deep psychotherapy myself on early childhood trauma. I was doing yoga. I was in my body for the first time. I was doing energy work, experiencing it, Reiki, and another form from elite neurocare. I can't quite remember what it was called, but I was doing that. And I was working with a spiritual teacher / mentor / he was kind of my everything person.
Okay,
and
that's a lot.
He definitely knew all this stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, he'd been on this path many years.
Wow.
And then all of a sudden, I just had this awakening.
Okay.
And what happened was a lot of repressed material came up, repressed traumatic information came up, and then mystical experiences started happening to me. I was hearing voices, seeing dead people. It was pretty strange.
So do you feel like before that happened to you, if someone, let's say you're in a session with the client and they're telling you this, I mean, is there this part that wants to, hey, I'm gonna have some empathy and awareness here, but were you still thinking, what else is going on here?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Definitely. Yeah. This is definitely, I always give, my psychotherapy assessments.
Yes.
And, if you do, there's that part, do you ever see or hear things other people don't see?
Yes, right. And I mean, so.
It's taken on a whole new meaning for me now.
See, I appreciate that, right? Because there's that part, I think, having no experience, with anything like that myself, when I hear that, I do go into, classic clinical mode, and what are the voices? What are they repressing? Was it their whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you do really have to be able to tease out, because in this awakening with the repressed material coming up, I did eventually have a period of psychosis.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah, and I shut down my practice for like 4 weeks, got myself a little Risperdal, got myself back on track, and so it's a matter of kind of teasing out what is sort of more psychological that's going on, and what is actually spiritual that's going on.
Okay.
And if you're getting messages that are positive, maybe you're hearing things and it's positive and it's coming more from the right side, generally that's going to be more spirit and good. If it's, you need to, what did I hear? Oh, you're going to, what you said to some client, you're going to wind up in Napa State or something.
Okay.
I don't know. I was like, okay, that is not spiritual.
So that's, I think that's kind of interesting, because do you run into people that will say that they have heard these, negative voices or evil voices, and so are you kind of saying you feel like that's more of some sort of psychological?
I tend to think it's more psychological. Okay. Some people will say, I've heard people say, well, that's an evil spirit or something like that. There can be negativity attached to people. I think it's a case-by-case situation. You have to look at each person and really help them figure out what's what. And, there's, if we go down the diagnosis road, there's one thing I'm finding as people come in, there'll be certain people with diagnoses that it's like, there's an awful lot of people with bipolar that seem to be able to do this, or ADHD seem to be able to do this. It's kind of interesting. What's going on here?
Okay.
It's the correlation. So.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So after you have this 2012, you kind of have all these repressed emotions, feelings coming up, and then you take the break.
EMDR. Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of EMDR.
Okay.
Yeah. And
man, there's so much we could talk about, right?
I know.
Okay.
We could go down lots of
so then when you come back, then at that point, are you ready to start the luminous passages phase?
No, still not
No?
quite. Not
Okay.
thinking about that. But I start developing the mediumship.
Okay.
It's like, oh my gosh, I can talk to people who've crossed over.
Okay.
I can talk to all kinds of interesting things.
So you hadn't had those experiences necessarily before?
Well, I'd had them with the family,
Okay.
But I didn't know, what is this all?
Yeah.
And I certainly didn't know, you can go to a class, and back then there, maybe wasn't as much as there is now. There's not as much social media as there is now.
Well, and I think part of then just being authentic in our interview is so many people, they now see the Long Island Medium or some of these,
I'm grateful to these people.
Okay, because it does put
they help normalize it.
Okay, so the talk's more out there. So were you starting to have those where you are out in public and you're just hearing or picking up on, or was that what you're saying?
A lot of it would be like, and I wouldn't do anything with them, but with clients, all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, there's a dead person here for the client.
Okay.
And I can't just sit there and say, oh, I got this dead person.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
But I might be able to pass on sort of like a message.
So you're trying to frame it from,
yeah,
have you ever thought of, or that sort of
I
thing?
bet if they were here, they'd be
might
thinking,
say,
blah, blah,
right?
blah. And, wow, funny you say that.
Okay.
And it's like, oh, wow.
Oh, that's okay. So that's fascinating. So all of a sudden, you're pulling some
Yeah.
specifics out that they're,
Yeah.
wow. Okay.
Yeah. but they're not picking up.
Right.
They're not getting it.
Yeah.
And so then with the, developing myself, working with the mentor that I mentioned, and taking classes various places, I started to decide, wow, I really want this for everybody, or whoever is interested in doing this, or whoever is experiencing this. And I was getting messages, you will help others awaken.
Okay.
That was coming in during the awakening. I wasn't quite clear how that was all going to happen.
Yeah.
But that was the message, this is what you're going to be doing. Oh, okay, and we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I was really afraid to start luminous passages. I was really afraid to, just like anybody, I've taught mediumship too, that that you go through a period of, is this really real? And you go back and forth with that a lot.
Do you? Okay.
Until you finally, oh my gosh, okay, it's real. Okay, I've got to just go with it. And then I was really afraid when I first put out my card for luminous passages, oh my gosh, my LMFT will be taken away. I'll lose all my clients.
Yeah.
Horrible things are going to happen.
Yeah.
And I kind of likened it to being on the branch of a tree, and I thought, well, I'll just walk out on the branch long enough until it starts to break, and then and it just keeps getting stronger the further out on the branch I get.
Okay.
So,
Okay. But I appreciate that part of the story, though. So it was difficult. I mean, these are things that you went from not having these experiences. Now you're hearing. Not only you're starting to kind of connect to people that have crossed over, but you're getting these messages of you will help people.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, were there times then where you felt like, I don't know, I don't think I can do this, or did you feel like because you were getting those messages so regularly, you had to?
It just sort of naturally started emerging. I think the first thing I did, or I found, was the repair and reattachment grief therapy.
Okay, so what is that?
Yeah, that's something I actually do. That we train licensed therapists to do that. I do that through It's Possible.
Okay.
And
It's Possible is your
my psychotherapy. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but I thought, wow, this is a way I could give this to everybody. They could all have this experience, and they could, if they're missing someone, they can, one, get over the grief in one session. And connect with the person who's crossed over, and so that's what it is.
So that's the repair and reattachment.
Yeah.
What in a nutshell? What is that?
So people come in. They come in for one session. It's about 3 to 5 hours, and we sit down and we really, the person gets to talk about the one that's crossed over, whether it's recent or a long time ago, in a way that they haven't before, and I write down memories, especially any disturbing memories that have not been healed. And then the whole time they're talking, I have them listening to bilateral music. About the brain.
Okay.
Yeah, it's listening to bilateral music.
So what is that? What is bilateral music?
Bilateral, I use that in EMDR for trauma. Bilateral is accessing both sides of your brain, and it speeds up your brain processing so that things can be released.
Okay.
And it also gets you so relaxed when you're listening to this that it makes it possible to connect with someone in spirit.
Okay, so kind of priming the pump, setting the stage.
Kind of primes the pump, sets the stage, and so you take all these memories that are, usually when we talk about trauma, we get something called a SUD, subjective unit of disturbance, 0 to 10. 0 doesn't bother me at all, 10 couldn't bother me more. And you get all these memories, somebody's dying in the hospital, they messed something up, somebody yelled at me at the funeral, and you take them from 10 down to 0 in one session.
Wow.
It's like 6 months of therapy in one session.
Okay.
So that was my first kind of, I could help people this way. Yeah. And then after that I created Luminous Passages, and that started more as just doing mediumship readings where people come in grief and do like we did that reading.
Yeah. So we did, we did one before and recorded that, and that was quite an experience.
Yeah.
I mean, because I think
that was wild.
I was going in cynical. I was pretty open with you about that, and that was that. Yeah. So kind of probably talk more about that.
Yeah. That was excellent.
So you start with the repair, reattachment, grief therapy. You start working into the mediumship. I mean, at what point? And I think I had started by asking you. It was far too early to ask you this question at the very beginning. But so at that point was the Luminous Passages. What percentage of your week was it?
Yeah. Beginning.
At that point,
95% is It's Possible therapy, and 5% is Luminous Passages.
Yeah.
And then I've had Luminous Passages about 3 years now.
Okay.
And so that's, to me, a pretty speedy growth.
It really is, yeah.
Yeah. And it's just, gradually more and more people are wanting to do that.
Okay.
And and basically in the beginning I started out with the mediumship readings. Since then, and somewhere along the line, I was also trained in Reiki.
Okay.
So I'm doing Reiki.
And so part of me wants to, I almost want to go through some of those,
okay,
and then kind of end with a lot of questions about the mediumship, because I think that's the part that I get the most, where I hear the most about.
Wow.
Yeah. So okay, Reiki energy healing. Did I say it right?
Yes.
Okay.
Reiki energy healing, and there's all kinds of different kinds of energy healing. But I've been trained in Reiki, which is a Japanese form of energy healing, and it doesn't matter if somebody's in the room and I'm doing it with them, or I do it with people who are in another state.
Okay.
Over the phone, distance healing, because that's the thing. This is all about energy, whether it's talking to someone who's crossed over, or it's sending somebody healing energy. It's all about that. So people come to the office and I do.
What do they come? What are the greatest hits of things that they come with that they want healed from? I mean, is it physical pain? Is it emotional pain?
It's usually more emotional, or they're wanting to just experience having their chakras balanced, or they're wanting more relax. The thing you can say is you can give them relaxation. You can't be promising, I can cure. High blood pressure or something. Okay,
and I think that when I hear the word healing, then I kind of I think I'm still stuck on that almost the medical model, even though that's not what we do as therapists. Right?
We're talking about complementary kind of healing things.
Yeah, and you mentioned chakra during there too.
Chakras.
So what are those?
Your chakras are sort of your energy centers. It's more of an Eastern belief. Well, anyway, they're depending on who you're studying, there's a variety of numbers of them. Generally like to think of 12, but a lot in Maine you'll think of 7. And there's your root chakra, which is sort of about your, where do you live? Do you have enough food? Your ancestors, things like that. And you have your sacral chakra, which is right below your belly button. It's about your creativity and sexuality and emotions. Your solar plexus. Well, anyway, it goes on and on up to your crown chakra. And so, and people are sensitive. They can feel me working on them, even if I'm not touching them.
Wow.
And I get assistance, angelic assistance comes in. And a lot of times when I'm working with someone with their energy field, I get a lot of information about them. So, your throat chakra is having trouble. I can see you're having difficulties with your husband right now. You're not speaking up and saying what it is you want to say. This is happening, that happened, blah, blah, blah. Or picking up something at the work, or your back of your heart is blocked. It feels kind of like you've been sort of stabbed in the back. I'm picking up a past relationship. It's
so how do those come to you?
Crazy.
I mean, what is that experience like?
What is that? Well, that's the whole mediumship. And a medium is sensitive to the vibration of energy around us.
Okay.
And so it makes us able to potentially see, hear, feel, taste, smell things that other people don't.
So you talk about the vibration.
Vibration.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you'll hear the word. I'm raising my vibration.
Yeah, what does that mean?
Frequency. Oh, this is where it gets a little dicey. So, because I'm not big into science, but I did do a class on this one time though. But it was like, anyway, we think of things having atoms and molecules, and kind of how fast they go is anyway the movement. And so like this chair is really slow. We're a lot faster. And so the vibration is just about the faster you're moving, the higher your vibration. I'm not giving a very good explanation.
So then you kind of then, and before we did ours, you kind of, it looked like you were getting centered. You were... Yeah,
I was breathing, and that's what I was doing. So for me, I center, I breathe, I immediately, everything gets let go of, thoughts, all of that. And I get centered, and then I breathe. And I usually connect with what I call guides. I think we all have guides that help us. Usually for me, my grandmother comes in. As soon as I see grandma, it's like, okay, we're good to go.
Yeah.
And then I connect with whoever I'm sitting with and get someone for them. Or if I'm doing a show, I do shows too.
Okay.
So, 30 or more people, and go around and give messages.
Okay. I want to, let's talk about shows. So talk about so when you are what is that like? I mean, are you kind of watching people
That's
come
fun.
in? Are you trying to feel the room?
No.
I mean, I have no idea what.
What's the show like?
Yeah. Which, by the way, and we're gonna plug this later too. February 10th.
February 10th in Rockland.
Yeah.
The show's so far to date, it's always called An Evening with Spirits.
Okay. And you've done, how many of these have you done?
Of this show, I think 4
okay.
4 or 5.
Okay.
And then I've worked in front of a lot of people before, but
Yeah.
just not called that.
Yeah.
And so usually I'm in a back room breathing.
Okay.
And then guests are coming in, you know, they've bought their tickets, so they can buy them at the door too, but they're coming in. They sit down and I get introduced and I come in, and as a matter of fact, my last show was filmed, so it'll be up on my
Okay.
YouTube page.
Okay.
So it's going to be somewhere.
Yeah.
And then I usually, you know, introduce myself and we talk about what's going to happen, and I usually lead people in a visualization altogether, so they help me raise the vibration.
And is that part of where they are now getting themselves in a place where they can be open to?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm usually asking people to set the skepticism aside
Sure.
for now, because a lot of people have been dragged there. You know, one person really wants to go, oh, come on, honey, please. And then,
Yeah.
So,
Can you read that on somebody's face when they're coming in? I mean, are you reading body language?
well, when I see them, sometimes you go to give them a reading, they're looking at me like, oh, man, I don't really. Well, I usually will say who's a skeptic or who's not sure they wanted to be here. And when I'm giving the readings, it's like funny. Sometimes I'll be drawn to the skeptic, and it's like, oh, I bet you didn't think you were going to get this.
Okay.
And so I try to do that more. It's kind of more entertaining.
Sure.
The messages can be serious, but it's more I connect, and then Spirit draws me where they want to go for a message, and then I bring in a spirit for somebody.
Okay.
And yeah.
And then, okay, so, I mean, do you have stories about that you can share? Or I know there's, you know...
Let's see, what can I think
Yeah.
of?
I mean, when you're walking around the room and there's, you know, what does that feel like? Or
I love it. You know, back in college,
Uh-huh.
I did study some drama, and the teacher wanted me to major in drama, and I went home, and Mom said, we can't make any money in drama, and you know, you're going to do business. And so I get to use that part of who I am. So I walk in front of everybody, and I get to kind of get everybody happy, and then I give these messages, and sometimes they're pretty serious though, or you know, and people can cry. I'm trying to think of an example. The only one that's coming to me, and it wasn't a sad one, the last show, a woman, her mother came in, and she was very extroverted, and she wanted to introduce herself to everybody, and so she had given shopping bags to everybody, Macy's shopping bags.
Oh, wow.
And it turned out she had worked for Macy's, so I didn't know that. So the evidence came in, and people were like, wow, that's really cool, you know.
Okay.
So
you mean that her mother wasn't there?
She's dead.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
See where I'm at? I'm sitting there going, okay, her mom's there. She brings these bags, but what was the cool story?
So I'm going. I'm talking to the daughter, and
wow.
Your mother's here, and
she wants to give everybody Macy's bags.
And oh wait, she's coming in. Wait, I knew the message should be for you, but she doesn't want to come to you right now. She wants to come to everybody, and she's passing out these bags, and there's going to be a great sale this Friday, and everybody should go. And they aren't little bags. They're the bags you put bedding in. So, they're like big bags. Yeah. And they say Macy's, and she said, yeah, she worked for Macy's. Okay. So that was kind of fun.
Okay, have you ever had the experience where, you know, you drop something like that, and it's like, oh my gosh, look at that, and somebody's kind of like, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, and then you want to be like, no, did you hear the part where I said Macy's, right?
Yeah.
She worked at Macy's, you know?
Yeah, no, sometimes people, they don't want to give you any inkling that you're on track.
Because they don't want it to...
Yeah, I had one, this was at the last show too, I got somebody's mother in, and she got mad at me, because I can't remember quite why. That's the other thing, the messages kind of just come and go. Sure. But I know she was mad at me for something, and she said, I'm his mother, you know. So I said, and he kind of looked at me, and he's not really saying anything, and he says, well, it kind of sounds like my mother. Well, then on break, I'm in this other room breathing, and I hear him out there, and he's like, man, that woman's good. She doesn't know anything about it. That was my mother. Oh. I'm like, dude, pop
your head out, right?
Dude,
really? Come on.
Why didn't you give me that while we were...
Oh, that's That's good. Yeah.
Anyway.
So is that do you enjoy the shows more than the one-on-one, or is the one-on-one? I mean, what are those?
It's different.
Yeah.
And
So it sounds like the shows. I mean, you're having a chance to interact, and, and people are.
It's fun.
Yeah.
I do get nervous before, but it's a lot of fun.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I guess because you never know what's going to happen, and there's all these people out there.
Yeah.
But no, individual one-on-one can be really wonderful. People come in for a reading. You got 4 or 5 spirits in, or past lives, or guidance. People come in asking me about their business. What should they do? Blah 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 blah.
I apologize to jump back, but so I just had this thought of, I remember as a young or a new therapist, I used to kind of feel like it was difficult at times to. I almost went through this transformation where I felt like I had in my head, what would a real therapist say? And then I would make myself say it to the point where then it's like, oh wait, I think I'm a real therapist. I mean, have you ever had situations where, you are hearing something and I don't know, do you feel like it would be scary to say or too emotional to say, or I mean, is it hard to say, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have what they call clairvoyance, clear seeing, clear hearing. I also get clear empathy. I can feel them. I can feel if they have depression. I can feel all kinds of things. And so, yeah, sometimes, there's this give what you get. But, yeah, if I'm getting something, somebody's going to die, I don't give that.
Okay.
So there's a certain discernment you sort of use. Or it's how you deliver something. Like if somebody came in. Well, here's an example.
Okay.
This is a hard example. A long time ago, I was giving a reading to my cousin, and her father came in, and it was a great reading for her, and he was a very difficult guy, very difficult guy, and then
wait, and again, her father came in, meaning. He didn't walk in the door where my mind
was.
Yeah,
he's dead.
Okay.
Yeah, he's coming in for the message. He's my uncle.
Okay.
And I know how difficult this guy was.
Okay.
So he's coming in he's being pretty nice to her. And I'm like, oh, this is pretty good. Well, her daughter was there. And her daughter, I said, well, we've got him here. Do you have a question? And she says, I just want to know if he loved me. Oh, no problem.
You're thinking this will be great.
Yeah, this is
right?
like a piece of cake. And, and I am not hearing it. I'm not hearing him say it. And so it's like, okay, so I can't lie and just say, yeah, sure, he loved you. So I'm checking in and I'm like, so I check into him and I say, you know what? That's really hard for him based on his history. And I can feel, and I now I can't even remember what it was, but it was like I could feel how difficult it was for him to be vulnerable and to be able to say that based on. And so I was able to give her, I couldn't give her what she wanted per se, but I could give her the explanation of who he was and how he was, and something.
Which probably she could. I mean, that made sense.
That helped. Yeah, it's not her.
Yeah, it's
not, and she got a better understanding of him.
Okay.
And it's interesting because as a therapist, normally we sit across from people, and how's your sleep, how's your energy, how's this. Well, when you're actually connecting with someone who's crossed over, I can feel inside of them. I can feel what depression feels like. I can feel feelings I've never felt. It's very
well, we
unusual.
talked about, you said, empath, right? Is that
empath.
Is that where you feel like you, because I have,
empaths.
someone I'm working with that it really, he feels like he takes on a lot.
Yes, and empath is, I see a lot of people who are empath, a lot of people who don't know they're empaths, and they're empaths. So the idea of being very, people have told you, oh, you're too sensitive, you're this or that or the other thing. A lot of times they're very empathic and they have a hard time maybe being like in public places around a lot of people because they're picking up the energy of everybody that's in the room. Or, somebody comes by, they're in a bad mood and it just rubs off on them. And so they have to learn how to kind of protect themselves and with energy and things and work with that.
Okay.
But it can get people into not knowing that they have that. It can be pretty painful to just, well, gosh, I'm having this horrible experience in life where, everything bothers me. And really it's like, well, you're sensitive to energy. And to me, being sensitive, being able to cry is wonderful.
Okay. So in our LMFT world, we talk a lot about vulnerability.
Yes.
But that kind of takes it to a different level, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you, okay, so I was thinking as well about, I have people that will let me know, right when they find out I'm a therapist, I don't really believe in that stuff,
Oh,
and I remember having gone through that at a point where I used to feel like I had to defend the profession, and now it's like, oh, I've done it long enough. It's like, okay, well, number one, that means you need some therapy, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, so is it even more? Do you have people that will tell you when they hear that this is what you do, that they don't believe in what you do? I mean, are they more kind of...
starting with family members.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Well, yeah, what was that like?
I come from a long history of people not believing in things, whether it's, trauma
Okay.
or you eventually develop a pretty thick skin.
Yeah.
Even though you're sensitive. This is kind of a funny story. So I'm developing my mediumship. Man, this is great. I tell my mom, and she's now she's 96. So
Wow.
figure she's probably 90 or 89 or something when this is happening. I can't remember even, but she's old.
Yeah.
And Mom, I can talk to people crossed over and this and that. Oh, well, I think my father's aunt had schizophrenia.
Oh.
That was my first.
So you were just
That was the first
diagnosed
reaction.
as schizophrenic. All right, thank you, Mom.
And then my brother. Yeah, he can't. No, this isn't gonna fly for him. It'll never fly. He's very engineer. Very,
Okay.
you gotta science prove it. And
Sure.
So we've just come to the point where we're very different people.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and I've lost friends. Whether it's due to their spiritual path of their own, and they can't know me anymore, or
Okay.
it's too uncomfortable. I've also gotten a lot of great new friends,
I bet.
and that kind of thing. And
So
it was hard for my husband.
Was it?
Yeah,
Okay.
actually, I did kind of want to talk about that.
Yes. Yeah.
People
What was
who
that
come
like?
to see me for counseling, that intuitive counseling, that are having an awakening. A lot of times, I'm hearing their spouse doesn't know what's going on, and they don't know what to do with this. And so, for my husband,
Yeah. So what's he like? Is he more? I mean, yeah. Is he an empath?
he's
is
a
he
regular kind of guy.
Okay,
He's
yeah.
a regular kind of guy. He's a aircraft maintenance manager. However, he did when he was 18. He could see auras, and he knew a fellow that astral projected, a man he stayed with.
What's that?
Astral projecting is something people train themselves to do, where they can lay down and they can leave their body.
Oh,
Their
wow.
astral body can leave their body, and they travel around places, go into space. And I'm telling you, when
Wow.
you start going down this path,
Yeah.
it's endless.
Yeah.
And consciousness, it's just endless. So he did have that, but when this was happening to me, he didn't know what to make of this, and he's like, I don't know, Julie, and I don't know if I believe this.
I would say, did he just think that's a nice thing you're doing, or it's a hobby, or whatever?
No.
Or, no.
Well, he saw me through the awakening.
Gotcha. Okay.
We almost got divorced. I mean, it was really not a good scene.
Yeah.
But it ended up helping him grow. It ended up, he got sparked, and
Did he?
he's stuck in there with me.
Okay.
So that's really
Does
pretty
he?
cool.
I mean, does he ask a lot of questions, or do you feel like he kind of just he's hey whatever, I'm along for the ride, or what's that like for him?
He doesn't really want to get into it and know all of it.
Yeah.
But he'll come and film a show, and
Okay.
he'll come and help set up chairs, and he'll. I think what really did it, what the kind of turning moment for him, a couple years ago, we were at a pageant for my daughter, a national pageant, and they had this talent show for parents, and I wasn't
For
gonna,
parents?
Yeah, I wasn't going to do it. And then my daughter, in her very first interview with the judges, I wasn't going to tell anybody what I did.
Okay.
I was like, man, I do not want to ruin this for her.
Right. It's all about her.
Yeah,
when
it's
they're-
all about
okay.
her. She goes into her interview, and I must have asked about the parents, and she said, oh, well, my mom's a medium, and this and that and the other thing. And I was like,
Were you in the room?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and she comes out, oh, yeah, I told him this. And then my roommate that I met, she's like, oh, you should do this, because I'd given her a reading. So
Oh,
this is
wow.
my first time I got up in front of like 300 people. And I couldn't even see out into the audience. I couldn't even see who was out there. And
So this is a pageant crowd, parent talent show. Somebody's just juggled. Somebody's looking for a unicycle, and then you come up and
and I
Okay.
do this, and
Were you
actually,
nervous?
there's more to this woman who went first.
Hmm.
She heard. He asked me to go first, and I didn't really want to go. And this woman heard, and she says, "I'll go first." And she was a singer, and so she went first, and then she, went off into the audience. And then I came up with maybe 5th or 6th. There were like maybe 45 of us.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of people doing this,
Yeah.
various things. And I gave these 2 readings. I had 5 minutes. I gave 2 readings out in the audience, and people were crying. That's how I knew I was on, because it was like, oh my God, the audience.
Yeah.
And my husband didn't want to go. He wasn't there. He was with his family. And then I went for a break, and he came by. And when I was out going to the restroom or out in the hallway, one of the people I gave the reading to came up and said, I just want to tell you everything that you got and how accurate it was. And so my husband was standing there, hearing this total stranger, and he just got this look over his face. Wow, look how much she helped this woman.
Wow.
And wow, I think there's something to this.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
And that was a couple of years ago?
That was a couple of years ago.
So there's the saying in in the therapy world, you don't do therapy on your family, right? But can you do you do these things with your family?
Can I
like
do
the medium, the readings, or the
the
Reiki healing, or all that?
Yeah. So my daughter. Every day she comes home, does this boy like me, or can you tell me what's happening here? It's more psychic, but
okay.
And we exchange readings. We do it with each other, and she can do this.
I have to. My joke brain won't turn off. I mean, you will be able to use that to your advantage.
Yeah, I know.
You don't like some kid. You're like, man.
Oh yeah, I should.
Yeah, this kid is bad. I don't know what it is.
Oh yeah, he's
right?
not into you. No,
exactly.
You should.
Yeah. Hopefully, she will not listen to this ever.
Yeah,
right?
no.
Exactly. Yeah.
But
that's neat. Do you feel like she's kind of already has?
Oh yeah. Which actually brings me to the idea of kids. I did want listeners to know this is happening to a lot of kids, and a lot of teenagers are already coming in, kind of what I'd call online, able to do this fabulously, and sometimes they're getting shut down. Sometimes they're not telling anybody that they can do this, or they're telling a parent the parent is worried and takes them in, and they're being looked at for schizophrenia or bipolar and getting medicated, and and so anyway, that it can be really difficult, but I think it's kind of normal.
Okay.
But definitely, there's a lot of kids with like ADHD will be able to do this kind of thing. But yeah, so my daughter could do it, and I didn't even know what she could do until I was having my awakening, and then she told me, "Oh, well, I've been doing this and that, and
Yeah.
And then because I was doing it, she got excited and like, "Oh, this is great!" So she told people at school, and then she got bullied.
Okay.
And then she shut it all down, and it's only now, some years later, kind of opening up again.
You talked about though, and I know we've been going a while. Huh? Okay, we're gonna.
We're gonna wrap it up.
But you mentioned, I didn't know you did. You said you did hypnotherapy.
Yeah, well, I do more past life. I mean, I can, but I
okay.
really focus on past life regression, and so people come to see me for that. And
okay.
a lot of times they're just interested in. Well, usually it's somebody that they know, and they're like, "Well, I want to know if I knew this person in a past life," or it could be that they're really having an issue and nothing else has really touched on it or helped them, and so they're like, "Oh, let me check if there's a past life that may have something to do with this." So that's, I do those. I do past life regression, and sometimes just in readings I pick up past lives.
Okay, so you don't do necessarily the hypnotherapy where you're doing that for weight loss or for stop smoking or those kind of things?
Yeah, you have to write scripts. Once in a while for a client, if I'm really wanting to, I'll do it for them.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Well, and that kind of leaves it for any of the things you're doing, and I think I was trying to think of the questions, or maybe you can even help me with this, questions that somebody who is not familiar with the things you do at all, what their questions might be. So I mean, do you feel like, and where my train of thought was, I know with people that have tried hypnotherapy that some feel like it just doesn't work, and I mean, is that kind of the same? Do you run into people where you do feel like this isn't necessarily working for them, or do you feel like that's more of their issue of not being able to put aside their cynicism, or?
No, I think, well, people that I work with consistently, so I hear back, they tend to really like it. But a lot of times people, they just come to see me for that, or they might come for a reading or something. They come and I really want to try this. And then I don't hear back.
Right, I guess
what ended up happening with that? Did you use it? It's like to me, it's more like, look at it more like a puzzle, and you're getting pieces and it can help you to understand.
Okay. I realize the question I'm asking doesn't even make sense. I'm basically saying, hey, the people that don't come see you, why don't they come see you?
Oh.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Well, sure. Well,
Yeah.
there are people who don't come see me, and
Yeah.
some of them I never know why they don't,
Right.
because I don't hear from them.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the reason.
Do you ever
sometimes I do hear from them.
Do you ever get through a reading and then somebody does say that didn't work for them, or and what would the reasons be?
Oh, well, let's see. That's very rare.
Okay.
It has happened. It sometimes the person they wanted is in healing, or I just didn't, for what they wanted, I didn't get enough evidence for them for whatever reason.
And even that could,
happen.
I'm wondering if the person's just focused on somebody else, and if it's not that person, they're not kind of opening up.
Oh, yeah, I have had that.
Yeah.
And I'm like bringing in a cousin, and here's your I don't want my grandfather. I don't want this person. I don't want that. I only want this person. I was like, oh my God, I'm trying.
Yeah.
I had this one guy one time. It was interesting. It was very interesting. And I was bringing in all these family members. Yeah. I want my wife. I want my wife. So I'm feeling horrible. The wife is not coming in. I get to the end of the session. I'm sorry, I can't get your wife. And he says, I've been to 5-6 therapists or mediums. None of them can get my wife. Mm-hmm. And I said, oh, well, just a minute. And so then I looked in a different place. It's like different dimensions. So I'd been looking kind of where everybody was crossed over it. So I kind of went up a little higher, and I found her. She was a guide. And so I brought her in. I couldn't bring her in quite the way he wanted her.
Okay.
Because she was more at guide level now. I kind of moved on beyond it. And maybe she saw things a little differently than he did. Maybe. Anyway. So it did ultimately work out.
Wow.
But I wouldn't, if he hadn't said,
everybody else
I've been to 5 mediums, nobody can get her. So
everybody was looking in medium Walmart?
Medium, where everybody's crossed over, they're looking there instead of a little bit guide.
That's kind of neat. So do you feel like, and I'm wondering, even as therapists, sometimes there's these moments, right, where we feel like you can tell somebody they maybe don't want to be as vulnerable as you would like them to be, or they're kind of holding on to something in a session. And I don't know if you've had those where then you're kind of attacking it from this angle, and so even I'm guessing that you could even bring someone in and you are saying and all these specific details. I mean, do you get the feel at times where somebody's like, I don't know if I want to
I
even acknowledge this?
Where that kind of comes into play sometimes is when you're working with somebody maybe who's been adopted.
Oh.
And you start bringing in the biological family, and they don't want to.
Then they realize, I don't know if I want to.
So they might feel a little, and that can help drop the vibration. Make it harder to bring in whoever it is they're trying to get.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, maybe spirit really has a message they want to get to them from the, just because the parents gave them up for adoption, there can be grandparents, great grandparents, all kinds of people that can give them all kinds of information that might be interesting or valuable. So that's a thought.
Okay.
I was trying to think of something else that I was thinking was interesting. Also, it's slipping my mind.
No, that's okay. By the way, we are recording late after we both had a very full day of clients and everything, right?
Yeah.
So I appreciate the depth that you've gone.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah. So do you have? Anything else that you would want to share about luminous passages? Did you ever envision the day when that would become the majority of your practice, or did you always feel like it would just be this thing that would kind of balance out the I
didn't know where it was going to go, and I just feel really blessed with what's happening, because it just sort of is taken off on its own.
Where do you see it?
With the help of the clients that come to see me, then they say, "Oh, go see her. Oh, I had this great reading and this and that."
Yeah.
Yeah. So
you see more shows in your
future? Oh yeah.
Okay.
Do more
what
shows.
else? What else do you want to do? Do you train other people?
I'll write something eventually. I'm contemplating starting sort of a blog where I do some channeling, which is bringing messages through for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Do you ever have a day where if you're sick, or if you're are there days where you feel like it's just not happening, or
happening?
Yeah.
Well, not so much like that. I did once have what I would call a blackout isn't quite the right word, but dry spell, I guess you could call it. And mediums can get that.
Wow. How long was that?
I think it lasted maybe a week or something,
okay.
and then it was like, whoa, I haven't had that again. That was,
Did you start to worry that what if it doesn't
yeah,
come back?
yeah, I was kind of have those kind of things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, for the most part, it's great. I remember what I wanted to
Okay.
say. We were talking about, what about people don't.
Yeah.
I think the one fun thing is sometimes people get brought in for a reading. Maybe one person is doing the reading and then they buy it for their spouse and, oh, come on, try it. And so they come in, they're a little skeptical. And what's really fun is when you give them this reading and it's like just dead on and they get this look.
Okay, you can
There's
reread
a
that.
look. And now I've seen it over and over. There's an actual look. And it's just kind of like, I'm sorry.
Okay, is that still sometimes they're not giving you anything, or they're not?
No,
Okay,
that's so and so, and they're
Gotcha.
in, and then they're kind of like, I gotta think about this for a little while, or because it can kind of change your whole world view.
Yeah.
I mean, what if you come from where I was when somebody's dead, they're gone, and all of a sudden it's like, well, wait a minute, what if, it can bring a lot of comfort to people, healing. Expansion for those that are wanting to expand.
Yeah. So if they came in completely like, okay, she got this for me, but I'm not in, and then
all of a sudden, it can really cause some changes.
Okay.
So.
Anything else you want to share? This has been amazing.
Just thank you for having me so much.
Oh, I did have one client that wanted me to ask, and I was saying this would be the tip of the cap to this person, but she was asking. I mean, do you, when you are getting these messages, and I think I kind of asked this earlier, and then I don't think her question was, do you ever see the guardian angels? I mean, do you kind of have those, so you can see?
Oh yeah, I get a lot more than those who've crossed over.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's that
That's
like?
gonna open a whole new thing. So, can I still share one story?
Yeah.
It's kind of funny.
Oh yeah.
So I get those who've crossed over. I definitely get angels. I get what's called ascended masters. Those are individuals who have been here before, but they've learned all their lessons, and they're perfect. So This would be somebody like Jesus.
Okay.
So this would be somebody like Yogananda, Buddha. So I get some of these people, and oh man, is that cool?
Yeah.
And I get what's called light beings. So for a lot of people, this is really going a little too far.
Is it okay?
Light beings are extraterrestrials.
Okay.
And so the story I'll tell you is when I was first having these experiences and getting the people who crossed over, I was leaving work one night, and I see this typical kind of looking, extraterrestrials can be fabulous and wonderful healers and very high vibration, but they can also be, more like what people kind of picture them. Anyway, it's a typical like white ET with the eyes. And I thought, oh geez, this is it. I've gone over the deep edge. I'm insane because I didn't believe in ET.
Okay, so you're like,
I'm not an ET
I can do the medium stuff, but
this is like, oh gee, and it showed up and it said, say hello to your mentor for me. The name of my mentor is just say hello to someone, and that's all. And then it left. And I'm like, oh, geez, how do I go in?
Because now he's going to go, all right.
I kept going, I'm going to get 5150. This is it. It's all over. That's all I can think of. It's all over. And I tell him everything. So how am I going to go in there and, not tell him? So I go in to see him, and he's like, so how's the mediumship going? He's so sweet. How's your dad? How's the mediumship going? I tell him how's it going. Anything else happening? Well, I did get a message for you. And he's like, oh, that's wonderful. Tell me about it. Well, they were kind of from far away. Oh, that's wonderful. Tell me about it. Well, they were from really far away. And he goes, oh, well, tell me. And I go, well, it was an ET. And he's describing. And he goes, oh, that's wonderful. You met my guide I've been working with for 30 years.
Oh, gosh. Then you're like, whew, okay.
Well, I'm not going to get 5150. That was my first thought.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was kind of He was totally into all that.
Yeah. And
now he's retired.
Is it okay? Yeah. So I remember listening. Who was the guy, Coast to Coast, or before Art Bell, or the guy before him? Or there was one of these radio shows, and it was all about. And he was just so matter of fact about people will call in and their the sightings and extraterrestrials. And I remember even at that time just thinking, this guy sounds so like logical and sane, you know, and so I mean it's funny to hear your vulnerability about when I hit
really,
that I thought,
this is it.
right?
And now, you know, I get that. I get a lot of people come in, they want that, and then just because people will share things with me now. They go, I saw a UFO. I get people who really tell me experiences of these kinds of things.
Yeah.
And I get people, because even if they're coming to see me for regular therapy, they see what I do, and now when I ask, do you ever see things or hear things other people don't see or hear? And then I'll say, that includes spirits, like I get, and people will tell me things they never would have told me before this.
Yeah.
I know when people are going to die. I see things before they happen. I felt my father when he passed.
Wow.
All kinds of things in there. I've never told anybody this. So it's out there so much more than we know, but people are afraid to even say,
because they
what
worry what your experience was
yeah,
of 5150, right?
I'm going to be 5150. This is it.
Yeah. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
That is. Well, I appreciate your openness, your vulnerability.
Yeah.
That was really, I mean, and so where can people find you?
They can find me luminouspassages.com. I have an office in Rockland. I do messages. I do Reiki in person or by a distance. I do intuitive counseling in person. I do the shows. Well, you'll see if you go to luminouspassages.com, you can find out a lot more about me.
Okay.
And then I also have a Facebook page, Luminous Passages.
And then February 10th?
February 10th is the show. Come on out to the show.
Exactly.
And see.
Okay. Thank you, Julie, for joining me on the virtual